Welcome to Mysteries and Crime. I'm your host, Melissa Thompson. If you haven't subscribed already, please click. I'd love to have you as part of our community. On Friday, November 5th, 2021, Travis Scott's Astroworld Festival started. What was supposed to be a fun night out quickly turned into a complete and utter nightmare. 8 people lost their lives that night, including 2 teenagers, and more than 300 people would be injured. Astroworld takes place every year except for 2021 at NRG Park in Houston, Texas. It is run by Houston rapper Travis Scott and is named after his 2018 album of the same name. The crowd at the Astroworld Festival was made up of more than 50,000 people. Earlier in the day, a crowd rushed a gate at one of the entrances to the NRG park grounds and was caught on video. Attendees were seen bypassing security, rushing into the venue, hopping turnstiles, and knocking down security barriers. It is alleged that a lot of the crowd entered the grounds without tickets. Joey Guerrera, a Houston music critic, told BBC Radio 5, quote, Travis Scott himself did stop the show several times to point out people near the front who were in distress or needed help then. I don't think he was aware of the extent of what was going on, end quote. Samuel Pina, Houston's fire chief, stated, quote, the crowd began to compress towards the front of the stage, and that caused some panic, and it started causing some injuries. People began to fall out, became unconscious, and it created additional panic, end quote. Travis Scott released a statement via Twitter on Saturday, November 6, 2021, saying, quote, I'm absolutely devastated by what took place last night. My prayers go out to the families and all those impacted by what happened at Astroworld Festival. Houston PD has my total support as they continue to look into the tragic loss of life. I am committed to working together with the Houston community to heal and support the families in need. Thank you to Houston PD, Fire Department, and NRG Park for their immediate response and support. Love you all, end quote. After Astroworld was canceled in 2020, it returned this year for a 2-day event scheduled for Friday and Saturday. This event had an all-star lineup, including a surprise guest performance from Drake during Scott's opening set. The 2-day event had a combined capacity of 100,000, and tickets sold out in less than 30 minutes when they were on sale in May. There were 528 Houston police and 755 private security members hired by the festival organizer, Live Nation, working at the event, Houston Mayor Sylvester Turner said at a briefing on Saturday. As a countdown clock was set till the time Travis Scott was to perform on Friday, crowds started to rush towards the main stage. And crowds were already packed into the festival, with many saying they couldn't even turn their heads. They were literally packed side by side where they weren't able to move. So as the crowd started to rush the stage, people that were in the front were getting crushed. Some fell and were trampled on, and others were seen laying down having seizures. Some were in cardiac arrest. Pablo Longoria, 19, a college student from Houston, said the crowd erupted when rap superstar Drake appeared on stage with Travis Scott, saying, quote, all of a sudden it was like there were 13 mosh pits. It's not easy getting out of those mosh pits. When you're in a mosh pit, you feel like you can't get oxygen. All you are breathing is CO2, end quote. He also recalled seeing people falling into piles, including one woman who fell to the ground and was covered by 3 others who fell after her. 8 people lost their lives after being crushed. The victims were 14, 16, 2 were 21, 2 were 23, and 1 was 27 years old, while one of the victims' ages remains unknown, and as of Sunday, November 7th, 2021, the last victim has yet to be identified. At least 25 people were transported to the hospital, and of those, 13 remain hospitalized as of Saturday afternoon. Houston mayor said 5 of the hospitalized were under 18 years of age. So a lot of video has come out of this concert, and the videos are horrific, and I am not going to include them in this video. If you want, Twitter has loads of them. I literally watched Houston PD and security pick up a person who was lying on a backboard, and they literally dropped this person, I believe to be a woman, and her neck bent and her back, like the top back of her back and the bottom half of her neck, I believe they snapped her neck in that picture. I am a first responder. I have seen these kinds of things all the time, but this was absolutely crazy. When an ambulance was trying to get in to help the people that were being crushed, Kylie Jenner was recording this on her Instagram Live while her significant other, Travis Scott, kept on performing. And he told everybody at that exact moment to put your hands in the air, which is absolutely disgusting behavior for him to do, to not care about people's lives. There were literally people climbing ladders to get on stage for him to stop the concert. Now, I did see that 2 of the people working for him came to him while he was performing, and he seemed to have ignored them, in my opinion. It didn't seem to matter to him to stop this concert. He kept going. So many people were fainting, and there were people screaming for their lives, and nobody could hear anyone, because imagine, there's 50,000 people at this venue at this moment, and everybody was riled up because this was going to be a great concert. I mean, and things have been tough this past year, so I'm sure people were really revved up to be seeing Travis Scott and to get out and have some fun, let loose, and this horrific thing happened. I don't think that Live Nation, who was the coordinator of this event, planned this out very well, because we heard from an ICU nurse who was there who passed out. She was on CNN, I believe. I watched her interview, or Good Morning America, and she said that they literally had one defibrillator machine, one. And that the quote-unquote medics, now I'm not sure if they were actually trained paramedics. She did not know either. She said a lot of them didn't even know how to take pulses. There was CPR being performed on people that was improper. They were not performing CPR in the correct manner. She also spoke about them not even checking pulses and just starting CPR, which is absolutely dangerous because you're causing harm to the body, breaking ribs when somebody doesn't need CPR. She said that she couldn't get a radial pulse or a carotid pulse on one of the victims. She asked one of the quote-unquote medics to get a femoral pulse, and the medic said, I have no idea how to do that. And she said she was shocked. And I would be shocked too, hearing that a fellow paramedic didn't know how to take a femoral pulse. And for CPR to be going on and it wasn't even performed correctly. So Live Nation, I don't think prepared for medical. I don't think they prepared enough police officers, security officers to be at this event taking care of 50,000 people. It was unreal, the stories that came out about what happened Friday night. Literally, people were climbing the ladders, asking them to stop the concert. Stop this because people are dying. And they did nothing. They absolutely did nothing. And to see the care that was given to human lives was so disrespectful. There were 300 people treated at a field hospital that probably have broken bones and goodness knows what, because, just being packed like that in that field without being able to move, you're losing a lot of oxygen. So all these people that fell, and then there were people falling on top of them, they were surfing bodies across the crowds to get them help. And there were many good Samaritans out there lending hand. I heard a story of a Marine who was there just trying to have a good time. And he said he was starting to feel very uncomfortable with how the crowds were getting, even before Travis Scott started to perform. And then he said he got on and it just became insane. He said it was absolutely insane. Now, and this guy has been to Iraq. So he performed CPR on people. He helped people up that had fallen. And he said that he's a pretty strong guy. And he said he could not get through these crowds. He said it was just insane. So this scene is being treated as a criminal investigation. And I absolutely can see why. Police have announced that a security guard that worked the event, he said he was trying to help someone, and then he felt like a prick, like a little bit of pain in his neck, and they found what appeared to be an injection site, a needle injection site of him being injected with something. They delivered Narcan, which is to help negate the narcotics in system, and he did revive. So you don't know how many people were injected at this festival on Friday night. So that was something else that was going on. There were people storming the fences earlier in the day, and security had no control whatsoever of what was happening. Now, I want to remind you guys of something. I love Lincoln Park so much. I mean, when we lost Chester, it was heartbreaking. And Chester and Lincoln Park had huge concerts all the time, right? Now, there was a recording done where people were falling at his concerts. And that band, Lincoln Park, stopped the concert. And we're talking about safety and caring about human lives. And Mike of the band Lincoln Park said, we will go on and start this all over again if you guys pick this person up and help them. And that was the right thing to do. Why didn't Travis Scott use his celebrity at that moment to help someone? I mean, he just watched as this ambulance was trying to get through to help people. And because of the utter chaos that was happening on Friday, 8 young people lost their lives. I mean, there were young kids at this concert, and many of them broke in and got in for free. And I don't think anyone expected that there would be this amount of young people at this festival. I know Travis Scott has come out on his Instagram and he made a video saying how upset he was and that he's cooperating with Houston PD and fire and, the mayor's office and everything. But is it too little too late, you guys? And believe you me, I am not just completely ragging on Travis Scott here. Like, I've seen a lot of comments comparing the Travis Scott situation with the Alec Baldwin situation. And I know I have not discussed Alec Baldwin, but believe you me, I think Alec Baldwin is just as responsible for what happened on the Russ set as Travis Scott is for Astroworld. I mean, he's watching somebody's body being surfed across the crowd, and he's just staring. Like, he says nothing to these people. Didn't he have the obligation? Like, shouldn't he have said, yo, this needs to stop? Like, I am going to quit performing tonight unless this gets under control and we help one another. Wouldn't that have been the right thing to do at that moment? So people were talking about their encounters of how they were being pushed and you would be moving left to right. And some were saying their feet were actually off the ground, just being moved by thousands of people, and you had no control of what was going on. They had little medical equipment there. There's ambo bags, which we call them. That is to give the breaths for somebody in cardiac arrest. They didn't have many of those. I mean, to have one defibrillator for that amount of people, I mean, what in the world? You have to use them when somebody is in cardiac arrest. And to hear that's absolutely devastating. And I believe Live Nation, in my opinion, is responsible for a lot of that. They should have made sure that there was adequate medical equipment there. People didn't have enough to drink. I mean, it was bizarre how they handled things. And yes, I know they're making their apologies now, but 8 people lost their lives. There are people in the hospital right now with serious injuries. Some were released with injuries, and just the trauma that they have had to deal with of trying to go out and have a fun night and then this happens. I mean, I really think that Travis Scott screwed up here. I really do. I really think that he wasn't considering how human life is so precious. People at the front of the stage just said they were completely and utterly crushed and trampled. Imagine that. Imagine you being at the front of this concert, right? And imagine the thought of 50,000 people pushing on you. How your lungs and chest would be compressed to where you couldn't breathe. And no one is coming to help you. And to see them drop a body that's on a backboard, first of all, I don't even remember seeing a collar on their neck. And it looked to me in the video like they snapped this person's neck. I mean, these people didn't seem to be medically trained to care for these individuals that were attending this festival. So are they all going to be held responsible for the events? I mean, this is a criminal investigation going on. And who knows about the people in the hospital, if they still have, if they're going to make it and live. That nurse, the ICU nurse, she talks about if it wasn't for her boyfriend, she don't think that she would have survived. She said he passed her off and another stranger helped her get to the other side. She said that when she was out, she heard later that they helped her get to the VIP section where she was laid out, and she woke up with a bottle of water, and she's seeing all of these people lying next to her. She said some were blue. She said, and the medics, I don't even know if they were real medics. She didn't either. She said many of them didn't seem to know what they were doing. She asked one medic, she goes, has anyone relieved you of compressions? Because doing compressions for a long time, it takes a lot out of you. I mean, you can go on and on. She asked if they had epinephrine. The medics were answering like, I don't know. I mean, you don't know what you have available to you? I mean, that just doesn't seem right. So I believe that this could have been prevented had they planned for it properly. And Travis Scott should have stopped this concert immediately when he saw what was happening. So now he's saying that he's sorry, blah, blah, blah. But you can't get those 8 people back. And look at how young. There's a 14-year-old that passed away. 14. My eldest daughter was 14 when she passed away. So I can just imagine what these parents are feeling. They think that, they just want to take their child out and have a good time. And I know many of you have felt upset that these young kids were at this concert, and I'm sure, they probably shouldn't have been. But, Travis Scott has a lot of young fans. He is featured on Fortnite with his concert. And, that's going to happen at his real live concerts, that young kids are going to want to see him perform. And it comes back to the discussion, like, how do we put these celebrities, like whether they're actors, musicians, even politicians we do this with, we put them on this pedestal and we treat them like they're gods, and they're not. They're just people like you and I. And yes, we all make mistakes. Every single one of us, we make mistakes. But when you see something horrible happening, don't you stop and do the right thing by that person? I have spent years volunteering my time to help others. And it's so good. Like, the feeling is so good when you can help somebody else. Why would you want harm to come to another if you could prevent it? Why wouldn't you want to help another if you could? And yes, I know Travis Scott had things in his ears, that he couldn't hear. And yes, there's 50,000 people there. The crowd was wild. But he had a responsibility with his celebrity to do something about this. And this is very sad. I'm sure we are going to hear more information come out about this weekend's events. And to all the victims and their families, my thoughts and prayers are with all of you. All of you. I just am so sorry for what happened to all of you. And to all of you that are injured, I am praying for all of you to get well and to heal from this. I'm sending peace and love to all of you. Please take care of yourselves. I will see you very soon. Take care, you guys. Bye-bye.